Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Real Serious Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Hunter, along with Charles and Jack. And boys, we're winners. We are winners. The Colts have won a football game, and the Lions had a big comeback from last week's performance. So we're winners. And the Indiana Hoosiers are an awesome football team.
Ranked. Well, we should be ranked.
We should be ranked. I think we're not, though. I think we're just
like
up the
27th
list.
right now, kind of, technically. We're like
Which is
I don't
insane.
think this is gonna. I don't think this will bring us to the rankings. I don't think
Next week should. It's a Big Ten matchup.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if not Maryland, then Northwestern.
Yeah, who's not good.
Yeah, but
we're Big Ten the whole way out.
yeah.
So that's going to be great. And of the Big Ten teams we play, there's only 2 that are ranked right now.
Dare I say I feel
Playoffs?
excited for the
Yoffs?
Michigan game? I'm excited.
Oh, I'm
for the
fired
Michigan game.
up for it.
I'm fired up for that. I think I'm going to go to the Michigan State game.
I'm with you.
Let's go.
Dare I say Yoffs? Could be too soon to tell, but I feel good about it.
Yoffs.
Program's headed in the right direction, though.
Yeah, going
we're
to
beating
playoffs,
teams
baby.
that we're supposed to beat by the margin we're supposed to beat them by.
That's true. We've covered the spread in every single game, which is awesome. But I do want to ask you about the Colts. Do we need to look at someone else in the quarterback position?
No.
Are we sure?
Okay, are we sure? Like, here's the real question. We have Joe Flacco on the bench. Okay, so if we throw Joe Flacco in, the best case scenario I see for us is like, what are there, 16 games in the season, or they expanded again this year?
Yeah. So what do you think?
Or like 8 and 9 at best.
Okay, but you're 1 and 2.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just like, for me personally, I'm like, he's young, he's 22 years old. Like, sure, he's making a lot of mistakes right now, but I genuinely believe we need to give him a little bit more time, and I think to just pull him out so quick is just like to say that we have like zero faith in him that he'll like develop into the quarterback we want him to be.
I saw a tweet today that I feel like summed it up,
I agree with
and
Jack.
it was like Anthony Richardson makes 99% of the people in the NFL cannot make the throw Anthony Richardson makes. However, Anthony Richardson cannot make the throw that 99% of quarterbacks make in the NFL. And I was like, that is a very true statement. He left so many checkdowns open.
Yeah.
I agree.
But then he'll
like,
throw the most
yeah.
beautiful spiral, falling backwards, doing a backflip, and it's in the perfect spot. I just don't get how those
But like
things
one would
connect.
hope that it would be easy to
He's
teach him how
young.
to do these simple things, you know?
I know he's young, but like it should be like the simple should be what's easier. Look, I
So
believe
right
I would
now,
like
he's
him
pretty
to
much
be
a
good.
rookie.
Not
He's pretty much a
really.
rookie, and if he has he played 4 games last year.
Yeah, but you're still in the program.
He's 22.
You're still around it.
I don't
I'm making the check down pass.
like, look, when I say this, I'm not speaking for every single Colts fan.
Yeah, okay.
This is just how I feel. Ever since like Andrew Luck retired, we've just been going through this random cycle of like either old or like, to be honest, the best quarterback we've had since Luck retired was Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
The season before he retired.
It
And
was.
He was electric. That season was so much fun. But after that, it's literally just been like washed quarterback after washed. I mean, Gardner
It's been a
Minshew was
dumpster
fantastic
fire.
last season. But like in terms of like who you want to build your foundation for and like where you want your team to go, like moving forward, I'm so tired. Like, I swear, if we start Joe Flacco and then he's our starting quarterback next season, I'm just like, okay, where do we go? Like realistically, what are we doing? You know?
Well, I think your test is the next 4 games. The next 4 games, you should win 3 of the next 4. You have the Steelers at home, which that's probably your loss. Then you have the Jags, Titans, and Dolphins. Who the Jags are awful. The Titans are even
Are we
worse.
in Jacksonville?
Okay, if
You are
we
in
should-
Jacksonville and in Tennessee.
we'll lose
if you win those
Jacksonville. We'll
next
lose Jacksonville.
3.
We'll lose
Come on.
Jacksonville.
They've thrown 1 offensive touchdown.
We should beat Tennessee. If we don't beat Tennessee, then obviously
You
I
should
think
beat the
there's-
Dolphins. The Dolphins are not good right now. There's
But if
no
Tua
one
comes
playing
back,
for them.
if Tua comes back, I mean,
Because after that, it doesn't look good. You got the
Yeah.
Texans, Vikings, Colts, Jets,
Hunter.
Lions, and then you end the season easy because you go back to conference play.
Well, the Lions should be a win. Hunter, question for you. Question
I guess
for you.
just what's the goal?
Do you think
for this?
Caleb Williams?
No, not the guy.
Do you think? Okay, well, that's like the same kind of.
That's why I think
Williams
today was
and
the test
Anthony
to see
Richardson
if
play like
those
the
two
exact
can do
same.
it, because they each played a defense where they should have done well and they didn't. We're like, the Bears defense was a lot better than they played today, and the stuff they let up had to happen because he didn't make the throw. And then, like, I don't know, like, what is the goal, like, for you guys? Like, do you want to be a playoff team as the Colts, or do you want to just have one guy get a little bit better and then have a good position for the draft? Because that is kind of where you're at right now, looking at being 1-2. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 wins. 8 wins could squeak you in because of the division you're in. Like, that's
personally, look, if he's not the guy, but like I would like to see him like play out the rest of the season and see how it goes. Okay? Because I don't want to get halfway through the season and then just be like, oh, well, let's throw Joe Flacco in so we can try and make the playoffs with Joe Flacco, and then not get a good pick, and then we're still stuck in this cycle of getting these old washed up quarterbacks. Like, if it's not going to work, let's just try and get a young guy and move on.
I will trade
That's what I
you
would like.
Hendon Hooker. I will give you Hendon Hooker, and you can have him. You just give me your second pick in next year, and I'll give you Hendon Hooker. That is the trade from the Lions. I hope you accept it.
No thanks. No thank you.
I really want the Lions to get Curtis Rourke. Keep the Indiana boys alive. He's so good. I placed a Heisman bet on him today. He's so good. But yeah. Is that football talk? Should we get into what our podcast is actually about?
Indeed.
Okay. What we watched this week? Who wants to go first? I feel like I went first last time, so I think Charles is going to have the least this time. I believe.
Movies?
I can go.
Hey, fight over it. Whoever wants to go, go.
I think the lags
I'm sorry.
get me a little bit.
Just go, Jack. You got this.
I watched Furiosa again.
Nice.
I really liked it the first time, and I noticed it was on Max, and I was like, I just really want to watch it. And after watching it again, it is indeed a 5-star movie for me. It rocks just all the way through. I like it so much more than Mad Max Fury Road. I just think I love the storyline. I think it works for me, and then I think Dementis is just like an awesome character. You get Dementis and Morton Joe. It's just like it expands everything you have in Fury Road and just like multiplies it by like 10. I don't know. I really like that movie.
It is very good.
I watched The Penguin, which we'll talk about later, and then my roommate has been telling me like throughout college, like The Sopranos is like the greatest TV show ever. So I've slowly started to watch some of The Sopranos with him. So we are slowly making our way through the first season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chuck, do you want to go next? I gotta get a prop for mine when I talk about it.
I'd love to go next. So I didn't watch a ton this week, but I watched The Dark Knight, 1 week late, but I watched it, gave it 5 stars. And I watched the new Transformers, which we'll talk about. And I watched The Penguin. And I watched 1 episode of Agatha All at One.
Nice. All right. I had a very specific theming of my week. Before movies and TV, I've been playing Astrobot, which, let me tell you, I don't really talk video games here. This game might be one of the greatest games I've ever played. It makes me feel like I'm 7 years old playing Mario Galaxy again in my room. That's how good it is. So I highly recommend. So that's why my movies are a little lower this week than usual. But I watched Transformers 1, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then I was like, you know what I haven't seen in a while? You know his beautiful face I haven't got to glimpse? Sly Stallone. So let me watch some Sly Stallone. So I watched Tango and Cash, which I gave 4 stars. All-time just dudes rock movie. And also a beautifully shot and just movie that looks great. Like, it looks awesome. They look awesome in it. So good. And then I watched Cliffhanger, which is about Sylvester Stallone climbing mountains and trying to get back money from terrorists. Awesome premise. And also a ton of practical stuff that just looks great. And then on top of that, The Penguin and both episodes of Agatha All Along, which I'm very excited to talk about Agatha All Along. Not really, but we'll get there. But yeah.
I have something else to add. I didn't watch as many movies this week.
Oh yes,
I know I'll let you guys know, but I figured I should let the podcast know that I got all these movies.
Yep.
So I've been going to this flea market, and for the record, this flea market has been like the best flea market I've ever been to. But I got 11 movies for $10. They said $1 for each one, and then I'm a negotiator, so obviously I got an 11th one. But I got The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I got Iron Man and Iron Man 3. Don't know why they didn't have Iron Man 2. Spider-Man Homecoming, Flash Gordon, Captain America, The First Avenger, Deadpool 2, The Prestige, which people at work were chirping me for having not seen it, so I figured I'd get it. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, and last but definitely not least, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm pretty fired up.
That's a great deal. That is,
and I got this little bonsai tree.
Dude, I gotta go flea markets more. I feel like I've been missing out on that for my getting new stuff. Just been slacking there. We have
okay.
We have like very little news compared to what we usually have, but I think it's good news. It's all high quality news, so I'm excited about that. First and foremost, this one boggled my mind. James Cameron is going to be directing a movie called Ghosts of Hiroshima. It's going to be what he does after Avatar, so in 2045, basically. But what the article said that boggled my mind is that it's his first non-Avatar film since Titanic, which is from 1997. And that is insane to me that I just didn't put it together, that the jump he went from was Titanic to Avatar. It was 12 years between movies.
Well, it's crazy because, like, obviously you hear, like, James Cameron is just, like, a massive name. But, like, you look at the movies that he's made while we've all been alive, it's literally, like, 2.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been 2.
It's crazy. So that blew my mind as well.
If it's been 27 years and he's only come out with those 2 movies, was he spending the whole time on those 2 movies, or was he just kind of like hanging?
I think it was more like the technology he was trying to figure out. And also he did do a lot of like the IMAX where he goes like under the water and does like the documentary.
He was going to check out the Titanic and stuff, bro. He was doing some trips and
okay.
Oh, true.
So this is the run from 84 to 97. So that's 13 years. From 84 to 97, he did the Terminator, Aliens, The Abyss, Terminator 2, True Lies, and Titanic. Then from 97 to 2022, he has just done Avatar 1 and 2. James Cameron, we need you. We need you, man. That's insane.
Come back.
Come back.
Come back.
Give us something else besides the blue people.
Come back.
But more insane than all of that is this story. This is a true story that this movie is based on. So it's about a guy who survived the atomic blast at Hiroshima, then got on a train to like get away from Hiroshima, and the train took him to Nagasaki, where he survived that explosion. And then James Cameron met that dude. So there's a picture in the article of James Cameron meeting the man who he's about to make the movie off of. Insane.
That's
Another
insane.
biopic.
Yeah, another one to the Oppenheimer cinematic universe. The Oppenheimer
Like,
cinematic universe.
The
is
ending.
growing.
The ending is gonna be like, and you know who it was? And they'll be like, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and he's gonna be like,
it's gonna be like it was Gilgamesh
The
from
Revenge.
the Eternals.
it's gonna be like a revenge story.
Gilgamesh.
It was. Yeah, I'll never forget that was one of the more shocking moments when it was revealed that Gilgamesh was actually Oppenheimer in the Marvel canon. Insane. Still a great movie, The Eternals. I will protect it with my life. All right, next up, Baz Luhrmann. Baz Luhrmann, best known probably now for directing Elvis, is looking to cast his next movie, which is a Joan of Arc movie for Warner Brothers. And the leading theory right now is that they're going to cast Wednesday herself, which is what, Jenna Ortega? Yeah, Jenna Ortega. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's throw a Tom Hanks in a
I'm
fat
game.
suit in that movie too.
Next time we do a director to focus on, I might toss Baz Luhrmann's name in that category because his movies they're Baz Luhrmann movies. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe him.
Because he's got what? Gatsby,
Elvis, Australia, Moulin Rouge, Romeo plus Juliet, the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet movie where they use guns. Yeah. I mean, kind of sign me up. All of our news is actually about directors this week. That's pretty awesome. And then the last one, that's like a real big piece of news, is that Ridley Scott has a plan for Gladiator 3. My God, I love it. Gladiator, he's just like, yeah, I'm ready for the next one.
That's awesome.
I'm like interested. I'm interested though. Like I feel like he gave by introducing the third one, it kind of like I think I saw some plot points in there that could potentially be a spoiler for the second one.
Yeah, it's interesting because he does talk about in this article that like he's saying, I guess it's kind of similar that this is the Godfather 2 of the Gladiator movies, and then Gladiator 3 would be like the Godfather 3, I guess. Or no, wait, hang on. He's
Makes
taking
sense.
inspiration from Godfather 2 for the next story. So it might be like a Russell Crowe and Paul Mescal movie. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But that's something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really excited for 2. And I feel like we've been
me too.
about 2 and how we're all super excited for it. But like, I don't know. I'm very interested to see what happens with 2. Like, I just feel like we're just getting ahead of ourselves. Like,
Yeah, I
super
know.
excited.
I'm like excited about it, and then I gotta wait.
I'm excited, but I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I just kind of want to make sure like 2 is like, I feel like that's like when Top Gun Maverick came out. After like, yeah, we're gonna make another Top Gun movie after Top Gun Maverick. Like, I feel like if you told me that before Top Gun Maverick, I'd be like,
yeah, why? But now
that sounds awesome. But like,
now that I've seen it, I don't think I want it.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. So,
but I feel like since they said it, they probably have like a ton of hope in 2. So I feel like that's exciting to me.
I would. Well, hang on. Remember, we did talk about though.
One?
Ridley Scott's initial idea for Gladiator 2 was to have Russell Crowe reincarnated and then fighting through wars throughout history as Maximus Decimus Meridius. That was his original idea for Gladiator 2. Never forget. So maybe his first idea is never the best idea. We got to wait 20 years for his real idea to come along.
And not to say that I'm like, I don't believe in Ridley Scott, but to say that I was excited for Napoleon last year is like an understatement.
Yeah, I'll say it. I'll be honest.
Possibly,
I don't believe in Ridley Scott.
I'm not sure. I think he has a great opportunity to win back, my trust, which means absolutely nothing to him.
Yeah.
But
Well, also, he's 86 years old. Like,
that's crazy.
first off, hats off to you to doing it. But like, my man, if you're gonna make a 3, we gotta pick up the pace. We can't do another 20 years.
You gotta be around for it.
But then again, the last time someone made a sequel based on one of his movies, it was better than the first one in Blade Runner 2049. So maybe the trick is we just got to have Denis Villeneuve come and make Gladiator 3, which would rock.
He already did it with Dune 2, man.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that. That's so true. But yeah, that was our real big news. The other big news, I guess, is that Matt Reeves did a lot of interviews for The Penguin coming up, and he talked about how the Batman Part 2 script is finally finished. They are going into film beginning of next year. So the guy asked him, was like, "Can you tell me anything about it?" And he's like, "No. The whole point of the movie is to go see what happens in the movie. Why would I tell you about it?" But the Penguin is giving us some hints on what could occur during it. So I think we'll probably save that for when we talk about the Penguin. But I think they're setting up something specific, which we'll talk about then. And then the last piece of news I want to talk about really isn't news. It was more just something I wanted to talk about. And that is that January 2025 is looking to be an awesome month for movies. Let me read you some of these. All right. Den of Thieves 2, Wolfman, Flight Risk. Let me keep scrolling. A movie called Screamboat, which is based on, now that Steamboat Willie from Disney is in the public domain, it's a horror movie based on Mickey Mouse.
They got to stop making these, man.
Mickey 17, which we'll talk about, Dog Man, which we'll talk about, and that's in January. January kind of looking like an all-time 3 out of 5 star month. Like, I'm kind of excited for January.
Mickey 17 to the rescue.
That's when Beekeeper came out. So maybe that's
Beekeeper January.
Maybe that's what January.
Den of Thieves 2 is this upcoming year's Beekeeper.
Or that's a 3.5.
Den of Thieves 2 is going to be this year's Beekeeper. I'm telling you. I'm very excited for Den of Thieves 2, which we'll talk about when we talk about the trailer. But let's get into trailers. So I ordered these in least exciting to most exciting, at least based on my opinion. Which is why we have to start with The Australian Office. This trailer is shocking.
Yep.
This trailer is... It is so bad. Like, they just did American
It makes
Office,
me want to puke.
but worse.
I
literally
find it
makes
really
me want to
interesting
gag.
because, like, I think that if you were to remake The Office, like, you'd make it so different, you know?
Yes.
But like when I'm watching this, it almost feels like it's the exact same, you know?
It is the same.
I don't know.
They have a Dwight. They have a Jim and Pam.
But to be completely fair, every
Mhm.
office like has these types of people, you know? So I feel like it is tough to say that.
I guess use the archetype of the character and at least do something different with it. Like their version of Dwight just like did the same Dwight things. Like their Michael Scott just did Michael Scott things.
Yeah.
I'll be honest though. I am going to watch the first episode of this. Yeah, I will watch and report back because
really,
yes, I have to see this.
Jack, are you going to?
I mean, an episode's gonna be what, like 30 minutes? They're not gonna make these things
like 20. Yeah, it'll be 22 minutes on.
I can watch this in between classes, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You watch this while eating breakfast, and it's over.
Yeah, I'm not. I can be scrolling on TikToks, you know, in between classes.
Yeah, like put it in like the little square in like the top of the screen. Watch both.
Maybe put the Subway Surfers game on while I'm, you know. No, I'm just kidding. But
this does make me want to watch the other versions of The Office, though. At least like the first episode, because are they all like this, or is this one just deliberately the exact same? Man, I'm excited. I'm actually excited for this now. All right, that is The Office, I guess, for some reason. Next up, Dog Man. So, I didn't know Dog Man was also by the guy who wrote Captain Underpants. Was that like his next? I guess it was his next thing after Captain Underpants. And it's just a dude who's...
I could have guessed.
A dog and a man. who's also a cop.
Hence the name, Dogman.
Dogman.
I'm sensing Harold and the Purple Crayon Part 2.
No, I think it's be better. I think it's be a lot better.
I think it'll be better. I think
it's gonna be a lot better.
Yeah, it probably.
I think it'll be
better.
like the.
Man, I forgot.
I
Harold
honestly
Purple
think it'll be
Crayon came out.
exactly like the Captain Underpants movie that came out.
I agree.
What was it? 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Which was pretty decent.
Yeah, it
Decent
was
but
fine.
forgettable.
Very forgettable.
Yeah, it looks good. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess we're not dog.
Animation looks neat. You know.
Yeah, I'll say this. It looks better than Transformers 1 did, which we'll get to in a minute. But don't know if Charles is offended by that one. Let's move on to Brothers. Brothers. This is either a 1-star or a shocking 3.5-star movie. There is no in between. I feel for Brothers. Do you want me to? I'll read you the. Let me read you.
I know
it's
because it's got this one that has Josh Brolin, Peter Dinklage.
Yep, Brendan Fraser,
Tomei,
Glenn Close.
Stacked cast.
I know, right? Stacked cast.
Wait.
They look like they're having fun though, you know? Like and when I say it looks like they're having fun, like they're not taking it seriously, like they're having it looks like they're genuinely having a good time doing this.
Yeah. All-time mustache for Peter Dinklage.
Was Marissa Tomei, or I think that's her name, was she?
Insane way to pronounce that.
Was she in this as well?
Yes.
How do you say it?
Marissa Tomei.
Tomei? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
just excited to see Brendan Fraser.
What was this? I don't remember this trailer super well. What was kind of like the gist?
They like stole emeralds or diamonds, and then they're like brothers, and he's like, you got to get back in the game. He's like, I don't want to get back in the game. And then obviously he gets back in the game to steal these emeralds, I guess.
Huh, okay. I have to rewatch it.
Hey, if this is better than Ricky Stenicki, Amazon Prime, you're still doing okay in my book. And it's directed by the guy who made Palm Springs, which I really liked Palm Springs, and I recommend Palm Springs if you haven't seen Palm Springs. Like, I think Palm Springs rocks. Starring also Kristen Milioti, who is in The Penguin. So small world connecting.
Oh.
I think that's it for Brothers, though. On to a movie that looks awesome. Small things like these. So this is Cillian Murphy's first starring role since Oppenheimer and his Oscar win. It seems like it's a movie about like a small town who has some kind of covenant for their church, and not great things are happening. Sign me up. End of story. Sign me up. I'm in.
I heard it's based off a book.
I don't know.
It's a book and it's like 100 pages. I saw somewhere.
That's short enough where I would read that.
Pages. Yeah. So somebody said it's like really.
Oh yeah, based on the best-selling novel.
I don't know. Either way,
what's it called?
I'm just excited to see him in a role.
Small things like these. I'm gonna look up novel and so many pages it is. If under 100, I might consider it. Yeah. Whoa. Wait. 128 pages. Look at that.
Maybe I'll order that.
It's gonna have like the tiniest print you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like so small. Like it should be like a 400-page book, but they just like made it so small for no reason.
Yeah.
But that looks really good for a smaller book.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be an all-time good movie with Cillian Murphy. I always am fascinated by like the follow-up to the Oscar win movies, because some are very, very much in the same vein, where it's like, this is my turn to be more dramatic, or some are like, I won an Oscar, I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
So that's been always interesting to see.
I guess Robert Downey Jr. just said, I won an Oscar.
Robert Downey Jr. basically was like,
right back.
Yeah, he was like, I've moved on from Marvel. Please give me my award of an Oscar. They gave it to him, and he's like, yeah, the money's though is pretty great. I'm gonna go back for all of the money. All right, next trailer, second to last trailer. Den of Thieves 2. This looks awesome. Now, I don't know who saw Den of Thieves, but I did. I saw it in theaters in 2018. Let me tell you, you want an all-time dad movie that rocks? This is another example of the 3-star banger. Den of Thieves 1 is in that club with The Beekeeper because that rocks. It is a great 3-star movie with honestly impressive action. And Den of Thieves 2 looks very good.
We should do a draft of all-time 3-star movies.
We should. That'd be a great draft to do, actually.
I think that'd be such a good draft.
I would be very down for that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't seen the first one, but I definitely agree.
I recommend seeing the
Those
first
are
one. If you're bored and you want like a good hangout movie, that's a good one. Den of Thieves 1 is like an all-time TBS TNT movie where you're like, oh, this is on again, and then you just kind of stand watch it. Then you're like, this is actually really good. Then you sit down and keep watching it, and then before you know it, 3 hours have gone by and you watch the whole thing. Like it's in that group of movies.
That's an average dad Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You guys see American Snipers on? Oh man.
Yeah.
I gotta see that.
The accountant is back on again. I guess I'll have to watch this again.
The accountant. Oh, the accountant.
I feel like Gerard Butler's kind of been doing that for like recently. Like his last movies have kind of all been those movies. Plane is another great example from last year. Plane is an all-time dad movie. Man, Gerard Butler killing it in these B level movies. And then the last one, but certainly not least, Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17. I'm fully in. It is ridiculous, but I'm fully in. The one person I thought would be out on this is Charles, if I'm being honest. I didn't think Charlie would like this.
Well, I'm excited. I think.
Okay.
I think he's gonna say it. I don't think he likes it.
No, so okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna be frank with you guys. I watched all these trailers at 4 a.m. this morning. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was like, you know what? Might as well watch some of the trailers because I was gonna wake up before our podcast, but then I was like, I'm already up, so I watched them, and I'm kind of having to like look these up to remind myself what they were.
You can't forget this
one. But honestly, I really like this trailer. I really
this
like.
One,
well, yeah, I looked it up to remind myself, and
Robert Pattinson doing a funny
voice.
Really good. This is another great example we just talked about. How do you follow up the Oscar win? And for Bong Joon-ho, it's this. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze.
Because I wasn't expecting that. Like personally, I was like, Mickey 17, like Bong Joon-ho. I thought it was going to be very. I guess I just didn't look into this as much as
the tone is very different than what I thought.
100%. I mean, because I haven't seen a lot of it. I mean, I've seen Parasite. That's probably the only movie I've seen of his. I know I need to kind of watch.
I recommend Snowpiercer as another good jumping on point.
That's the Chris Evans movie.
Chris Evans one, and then Okja as well.
Yeah, but I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but especially after watching Parasite, I was very much expecting something a little bit more dramatic. But looks like fun. Robert Pattinson. It's very interesting because you have like the movies that like you do like after you did Batman, Dude,
his filmography is awesome.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
I agree.
He's got a great filmography.
And it's funny because like on social media, people are just like, I'm so glad he's not remembered as the guy from Twilight anymore.
Yeah.
Like
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying like he has become like his like this big actor that everyone wants in their movies.
Yeah.
He's not just like the vampire from Twilight. Like screw that, bro. Like he is amazing.
Some of the people were so funny though in like the.
You guys ever watch?
Whoa, hang on. God, this Charles guy. Some of the people on Twitter were like, "Look at his range. He'll go down as one of the actors with some of the best range." And then all the other comments were like, "This is just what people used to do before people signed him for franchises for decades. People used to have different movies they did." And he's like the only one doing it right now, which is kind of awesome. It's like him and then like that new group of stars coming up.
Yeah.
So.
No, that is true.
And Charles, go ahead. We'd like to hear what you had to say.
Yeah. So it's not even that important.
No,
I was going to
no,
ask if
it
either of you have
was.
seen The Lighthouse.
Yes, I have seen The Lighthouse.
I'm not.
Very good movie.
Cool.
Oh God.
I've just seen the clip on social media where it's like Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite.
Fortnite. No, it's much
And it was
better
like-
than that clip.
It was like me waking my dad up at 3 a.m. in high school. Fortnite.
Going into the group
Yeah.
chat when you see that there's a snow day. Fortnite.
Yeah. Oh man.
Is there actually another question before either of you start talking? Have either of you heard of or seen a movie called like Danny Jukum or something?
Danny Jukum? What is that?
I can hold on. Continue. I'll get back to you.
Jukum. Yeah, we're gonna need more clarification on that. All right, that is it for trailers.
Yeah,
Let's get into reviews.
I'll get that.
I think we should start with Agatha. I said this to Jack earlier, but I mean, who's been cooking up very mid shows? It's been Agatha all along. This was
Jack, did you watch it?
I did not,
all
unfortunately.
right. So Charles and I get to talk about this.
Spoil it for me. Spoil
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna spoil
I'm
it.
not-
But no, you have to watch it. You have to experience.
I haven't
Agatha
seen
all
episode
along.
2. I haven't seen
So,
episode 2.
Let's
but
talk
it's
episode
one.
1 first. Let's do episode 1 first then. The first 20 minutes of episode 1, I was pretty in. I was like, I kind of like them doing this weird concept. And then when she like strips away the spell on her and goes through the other outfits from WandaVision, I kind of like that. I was like, this is pretty interesting, kind of cool. And it just kind of lost me towards the end of that episode. I don't know. Did you feel kind of that way about it, Charles? Or were you not in the whole time?
I thought it was a neat idea. The whole thing I thought was neat. And I like the relationship between her and Aubrey Plaza's character, which I'm forgetting her name. Honestly, maybe I never even knew her name, but I think the dialogue was brutal.
Weak.
And
Yeah,
it was
pretty
so
weak.
tough to watch. And I couldn't tell if it was a really bad who's the main character's name in real life? Agatha.
Catherine
What's her name
Hahn.
in real life?
Catherine Hahn. I am of the
couldn't
opinion.
tell.
I think it was a choice. I
I was kind of hoping it was,
because
but
once
it was
that,
so bad.
yeah, no, because once that like dream or like that her mind out of the detective mode, her acting gets a lot better. So I do think it was a choice where it's like if you or I pretended to be a detective, like that's how we would pretend to be a detective. You know what I mean? I think that was a
Yeah.
choice. At least I'm like pretty sure.
Like at one point she says, "Mind your own beeswax." I was like, "Bruh,
Yeah, I do
how
think
is
it was
that
a
a line?"
choice.
Scooby Doo this crap.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah. I selectively choose to
Literally.
forget that was in there.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was like a fine episode. Not my favorite Marvel show. Definitely not my least favorite.
Once again, I agree. Episode 2 was a lot better. I will say that. I think episode 2, like episode 1 was like a 5 out of 10. Episode 2 was like a 6.5, 7. I do think episode 2 was a lot better just because it was outside of that weird mind realm and actually incorporated some more horror elements and also moved the plot forward quite a bit. So they've made it to the Witch's Road, where it seems the majority of this show will take place. It seems like the cast is finally together. She's got her crew together, and we're going to start learning a lot more as the show kind of progresses. So I do think episode 2 left it in a better spot than episode 1 did, which I think is a great choice that they released 2 episodes at once, because if they left us with episode 1, I think it would be pretty disappointing. But by doing the 2, it worked a lot better, which I'm pleased to say. So we got episode 3 on Wednesday. But yeah, it's also tough. If Agatha was the only thing coming out right now, it would look, I think, a little bit better. But because we get to talk about Penguin, it looks a whole lot worse. So let's just move on from Agatha. Let's talk the Penguin. All right. I'll do the synopsis of episode 1, and then we can start talking about it. And I think we're going to do full spoilers for the Penguin right off the bat. All right. The death of Carmine Falcone in a post-flood crime wave motivates Oz Cobb to fill the power vacuum left in the criminal underworld of Gotham City, while the Falcone's children attempt to keep their family together. Big things in the episode: introduces Vic, introduces Sophia Falcone, introduces Salvatore Maroni, a quick introduction and also a goodbye to Alberto Falcone. And we got a little bit more about the Falcone crime family, but I mean, just we're so back. Yeah, we're so back. Jack, I gotta know your opinion on this. I feel like this was
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Literally the episode ended and I was like, Jack's gonna love this immediately. After my first thought.
Well, when I saw that you said you loved it, I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. Like this has to be so like if Hunter loves this, then it has to be really good. And it's funny because like watching The Sopranos with my roommate, it's been kind of funny because like a lot of people online I've seen are just like, oh, it's like The Sopranos, but like in Gotham. And it's so funny because like there's like very small like things that are like very similar, but it's just a gangster movie, big city, or gangster TV show. But it's just like obviously there's gonna be things that overlap, but it's like it is awesome. And like Colin Farrell's amazing. Like I swear every single time I see him in this like makeup and like this entire I still can't believe that's him. I watched an interview with him talking about him and his dialect coach. And he was saying there's a certain word that he would say to like get him in character every single time. And it was so funny because he has this, I want to say, is he Irish?
Yeah, I believe so.
Farrell? Okay.
Yep.
But he has his accent, but then literally as soon as he says this word, he just like transports like immediately and he sounds like Oz. And it's just, I don't know. That everything was great in this episode. The acting was phenomenal. I think even the relationship with Vic, for me, like I was kind of like at first I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, oh my gosh, this seems kind of forced. But then as the episode went along, like I liked the part where they talked about the slush puppies. Like I thought that
ending was great. That ending with them eating them together.
Yes,
it was so good.
Yeah, what do you think, Chuck?
I just think it's kind of going back to what Hunter said. It's interesting to point out, at least from what I saw, the difference in the effort between Agatha all along and the Penguin. Like you can just tell the Penguin, they put so much thought into like every single scene, and every line was so clever, and every like, what do you call it? Set was so good. The lighting was like everything about it was just like really fun and interesting to watch. And I know we're talking about the Penguin, so I'm not going to compare it to Agatha all along, but it was just like a very impressive episode to watch of TV, you know? And kind of going back to like talking about the ending, I kind of thought there was like a double meaning to it. Because you know how you know how Oz was like, have you ever mixed them before? And the kid was like, no, I never did. And I was like, oh, you missed out. And then at the end, they both mix them and they're enjoying it. And it's kind of like, to me, maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe I was like trying to read into it, but it's like Oz and what was his name? The kind of sidekick?
Vic.
It was Vic. I mean, it was like them mixing. And I was like always a fan of it, but this kid was. Did you guys kind of think about that?
Yeah.
I don't think you're reaching at all. I think you're.
I also thought it was mixing like the two families, like the crime families together, where like it was, if you keep them separate, it's controlled. And then when you bring them together, it's chaos. And then like Oz drinking it kind of is taking control of that chaos, which is what he's trying to do, which is why that scene in Arkham was so good. Where like Salvatore Maroni thinks that he's kind of getting one up on Oz, where he's like, oh, like I know not to trust you, all this stuff. And then you think Oz kind of went in there and it was a mistake. But by giving him the ring, it's just so perfect because it set up the ending that Vic finally did, where you get to see, the body of Alberto, and it gets Oz off the chair where he looked so funny sitting on that chair. But then also Sophia Falcone ends the episode with what a performance by Kristen Milioti in one episode. I mean, just to insert herself into the Batman world and be that captivating immediately, so good.
I thought it was interesting. I can't get enough of the interviews with the cast.
Yes.
And obviously, I know we talked about Matt Reeves earlier, but Matt Reeves is amazing. Watching the interviews of them talking about how they're trying to set up for, the Batman 2.
Mm-hmm.
And how we got information, but point is, I watched an interview with you said Kristen, how did you say her last name?
I said Milioti. I think it's that.
Okay. Well, I watched an interview with her, and she was talking about how, she was with her one of her coaches, her her presence, how she walks and how she moves around, how I don't know, but I didn't even know actors did that. I thought that was something that they kind of did on their own. I didn't know that sometimes they hired people to help them get in the character or move a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because from that episode, literally just the way she walks or turns her head or does some of these slight movements, she just looks insane. But,
I'm with you.
I don't know.
No,
I'm so amped. I'm so excited for the rest of the show.
What an opening episode. And also, I will say, based on what Charles just said about Agatha, watching this and then also seeing the Batman so recently, there is a step down in the visual quality of it.
Yeah.
However, it's such a high quality to begin with that when you go down a notch, it is still exponentially better than what they're doing in other places on television. And that, to me, that is, I think, very interesting and something that should be, I guess, talked about more. But I will say this also. There is such a opportunity here where they could have just done Cameo Fest, where they could have been here's Jim Gordon, here's the Riddler again. We're going to Arkham. Why not have another clip of the Joker? But by being so restrained in what you're doing, I think it works so much better. I think that is such a good choice.
And I liked how, I'm sorry, I keep going back to these interviews, but I swear these
I gotta watch some of these.
Almost everything I've been able to get my hands on, they're just phenomenal. And they're talking about the Penguin is literally, we're just setting this character up so that you know as much as you can about him and his character going into the Batman Part 2 and then further on into this trilogy, And honestly, I love that because I'm not saying, the Penguin is on the level of the Joker or Bane, but holy cow, if we got more insight into their character, their story, what makes them tick, even the scene where he's talking about the parade at the beginning, and then Falcone's son just gets blown to bits.
That scene was so great.
That was incredible. You see him you can tell so much is going on inside his head. He's getting pissed off, and then he just he's I've had enough, and he just, which I'm hoping. I would assume there's so many more moments like that will happen throughout the movie, throughout the show. But
and one thing too on that I think is so great, and I think it's even better after watching the Dark Knight trilogy again, is that the Batman made an effort to have Gotham itself be a character in a way that the Dark Knight trilogy never did. And this show just furthers that. As much as this city could be in the United States somewhere, it is so, in and of itself, different than what we have. It's not just Chicago. It's not just New York. It is Gotham. And that, I think, is so important in making anything Batman-related work. And this show does it so well.
Yeah, and I, even to the extent where you're talking about you can definitely tell there's a step down from the quality, but I think that's to be a certain extent. I don't think I was surprised when I saw that. I wasn't wow. I can't.
You're losing your main cinematographer. It's gonna look different.
Yeah, but I I loved it. I thought Gotham looked great. I thought it, in terms of just like the set, like even like some of, I don't even know if it's like CGI on how they like set up the, Gotham, but it looked phenomenal.
It looks so good. And I'm so glad they're taking it seriously. Oh man. So good.
I hope they continue to take it seriously.
Me too.
Me too. I hope that this just isn't like, wow, this was amazing. I can't believe they messed this show up. Honestly, I'm very optimistic, but so far I have very high spirits and
so far I'd say they got a pretty good formula. Do a Batman movie, then do a show that helps us get more in depth in the world of Batman and sets up 2, the Batman Part 2, another show, and then the Batman Part 3, and then call it quits. It is insane to me, though, that this Batman will never meet the new Superman. It boggles the mind that they did not want to connect these worlds. Yes.
Like ever? It'll never happen.
From my understanding, like James Gunn was basically like, look, they had a plan before we wanted to do a new cinematic universe. We feel like it kind of interferes with their plan. Not going to do it, which is just insane. But I guess
I'm fine with it. Personally, I'm fine with it.
It would be so simple. And like, he's a great Batman. This is an awesome Gotham. And I don't want another Batman. I want Robert Pattinson for like the next decade.
But I feel like intermixing, like especially like you have the Superman that we're going to get in the new movie. I mean, just from the set photos and everything, just like the costumes, everything is so bright,
Yes, but that is what makes Batman and Superman so awesome. That you have the darkness that is so opposite of the Superman, but yet they agree on the same thing because they agree on like the way they go about saving people.
Yeah, but I just feel like in like the same universe, like I feel like putting like Robert Pattinson's Batman in like broad daylight, and like obviously, I mean, I know we got like some, but like just in the way it's shot, like how like the filters that.
No, I know what you're saying.
Film.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it would look weird.
Oh, man, but it would be so great.
To
have such a difference between the two, but like they're still friends. Especially because Robert Pattinson Batman has no friends. Like to have him have a friend and it's Superman would be awesome. Like dorky Clark Kent is like his only friend. It would just be the best.
Yeah.
Okay, that is.
I got one more thing.
Yeah, no, I shot of another thing as well.
You want to go or me?
No, you go.
Okay.
You go.
So, additionally, in the other piece of news that we read, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, but we were saying that, basically, the Batman Part 2 takes place like a week
Christmas
after
time. Yeah, it'll be Christmas
or
time.
a week after the events of the first movie, right?
So the Batman Part 2 ends a week later. Penguin starts. When Penguin ends, it apparently is like right before Christmas time, which is when the Batman Part 2 would pick up.
Okay, because I'm very interested in what the time frame is going to look like for this show. Like will we span
I think it's
over
be a couple months.
Days? Okay, because I'm very interested. Like, will it be a long time, or is it just going to be like a couple days and then like boom, we're back?
I think it's going to be, from my understanding and guess, is that it's going to be basically the month of November and early December is where the Penguin kind of sits.
Gotcha.
Because obviously Batman took place at the beginning of its Halloween, and then that's like a few days, and then the Penguin will be a week later. So it's the beginning of November, most of November, early December. Batman Part 2 would take up December, New Year's.
That's a busy 2 months, man.
I know. Also, I'm waiting for. I think the scene's going to happen in the show where they're going to be doing something that's like probably Vic and Penguin, and they'll see the bat symbol like up in the night sky, and they're going to be, and like Vic is going to be very afraid, and then maybe Penguin might be like, it's a big city, probably isn't around us, just to like emphasize the fear that Batman brings with just the light in the sky. I think that's going to happen soon.
I hope there's some sort of dialogue surrounding his experience with Batman.
Yes.
I don't think if he would ever bring it up, just because if he's this guy, he's got this big like.
I think unless he's forced to bring it up, he won't bring it up.
I know, but I think it'd be like amazing if he was just like, that jackass flipped my car over.
Yeah,
like something like that. I don't know.
He's got a great insurance company to get him a brand new
car
good. A week.
Yeah.
Like his insurance is probably insane. The last thing I want to talk about, though, was how this is setting up, I think, at least my opinion, the Batman Part 2. So when this released, they released like some news clippings from the Gotham Gazette. And one of the articles talked about how the new DA is cracking down on crime. So I think obviously setting up Harvey Dent. But the other one, obviously, that I think at least is the timeline which you just talked about, Mr. Freeze. I think Mr. Freeze is coming, which would be so awesome because I think the color change from red to blue, going from Batman Part 1 to Batman Part 2, would be, be so nice. So nice.
I have one more thing to add.
I think that's the drug. I think that's part of the drug, by the way. If like the mysterious new drug coming to Gotham, it's gonna be like made by Dr. like Victor Fries. And it's gonna be that's who's gonna be making the new drug. And it's Mr. Freeze. Okay,
there's
yeah,
so many. There's so many avenues.
It's so good.
It's
like, so good.
I feel like I could talk about this like forever, but like
I know.
The QR code on the subway.
I scanned it.
Yes, and it leads to like to show that like the Riddler's followers are still together, like still. So like if there were to ever be a time where he breaks out, like his followers would be potentially ready to do something again. So I think that was interesting. Like I'm watching it and I was just like, I didn't even notice it until after I was reading some articles and then I noticed that the QR code was scannable. And it's just crazy that like that's such a small detail, but it's so cool.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's oh man, dude. See, this is why I want him to be around with Superman. Because it's like this is the quality I want them to aspire to all the time. Oh, it's so good. Man, I love Batman. All right.
Yeah.
Dude, the last few weeks I really like reinvigorated my love of Batman. Like I don't know, I was kind of out, like not as high, and then we did like the Dark Knight trilogy, so seeing the Batman again. Now this, I'm like so back. All right, that's it for at least for me, the Penguin. Anything else from you guys? You want to do Transformers 1?
Wait, the movie that the movie. It was Donnie Darko.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. I haven't seen it though.
Jack, have you seen it?
I've not seen it. Jake Gyllenhaal, banger.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Jake. It's Jake Gyllenhaal and his sister, and then I didn't love it on my first watch. I don't know. Didn't really know what I was gonna expect, and personally, I didn't love it. I know a lot of people like love this movie, so I think sometimes it's hard when there's really, really high expectations for a movie, and then you go in with those high expectations, and I don't know. But still, definitely worth a watch. Though it's a pretty memorable movie, just for how whack and all over the place it is.
Cool.
All right, you want to do
Transformers?
Transformers 1. All right, Transformers 1, the first animated Transformers movie in like 25 years. So, synopsis: the untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies, but once were friends bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. Starring Chris Hemsworth, Brian Tyree Henry, Scarlett Johansson, and Keegan-Michael Key. I think we should do non-spoiler first, and then maybe get into some spoilers towards the end. There's not a ton of spoilers, but I think we don't have to tell them all.
I think everyone knows what happens.
I don't think Jack saw this movie.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, so it's just Charles and I. So
Sorry,
Charles,
guys.
No, it's all good. I think Charles and I disagree. So Charles, would you like to go first?
I think we did too.
I think we gave it the same. We gave it the same. Okay. We gave it the same thing, but I think we disagree. So I gave Transformers 1 3 stars. For the first 70% of this movie, I was leaning towards 2 stars, and the last 30% bumped it up to 3. The last 30% I think is that much better than the majority of the movie. I do like the stuff, specifically character development. I think Megatron's character development in this movie is awesome. Optimus Prime's is pretty decent, but like I just don't think as much as Megatron. And that's not saying Optimus was bad. It's just like Megatron's was that much better. I didn't love the animation style. I think it looked decent. I just felt like, I don't know. I never felt like they had weight to them, which bothered me a bit. I did like the fact they looked like toys at points because I think that was cool to kind of make it feel like they were playing a Transformers, like when you're a kid playing Transformers. The worst part of this movie was Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee. He just was never funny. Sorry, he just never was. And I also think that I love Chris Hemsworth. There's one voice for Optimus Prime, and it's not Chris Hemsworth's voice. There's one specific voice that should be Optimus Prime, and it's not Chris Hemsworth. He did a great job, but it's just not Optimus Prime. But overall, I liked it. I guess it's nothing special. And I'll give you my hot take. I'll give at the end about this movie. But Charles, go ahead.
Okay, so I gave it 3.5 stars. So I think I gave it a slightly higher score. I agree with a lot of what you said, and I disagree with a bit as well. I think the first half of the movie dragged quite a bit, and I think I got pretty bored, frankly.
Yep.
Yeah, it just didn't really pick up for a really long time. Like really until they got their I forget what you call them, like their cores, kind of their transform.
Yeah, the transforming cores.
It wasn't really until then that I was like, okay, I'm in. Like this is cool. But that being said, once that happened, that second half of the movie was awesome. Like it was, to me, straight electricity. The battles were sweet. I agree. The Megatron development was really cool, especially when it was Sentinel Prime and
Versus Megatron.
Megatron was like trying to stand.
Yeah,
No, but like while Megatron was like in handcuffs.
Oh, and he kept standing up. That was great.
Yeah, that was sweet.
Was great.
I do agree. Bumblebee wasn't really that funny until he kept saying "Badassatron," and I was like, "All right." But then he said it at the end.
Yeah,
Badassatron.
Yeah.
He said it at one point at the end when he had like his knife hands, and I did laugh. Like I thought that was pretty funny. But I think that was the only time I laughed in the entire movie. Like it wasn't really a comedy to me.
Yeah,
I don't know if it
I'm
was
with
like
you.
trying to be a comedy, but it wasn't very funny. But yeah, I just think that my lows weren't quite as low as you, and my highs were probably higher than yours.
Yeah,
which is
I think
why
that you and I had
I
a very,
enjoyed it
I
a
guess,
lot
similar
more.
arc.
Yeah. But yeah, like I would go see it again. I told my roommates when I got home, I was like, that was a blast. I would totally see it again, just because the second half of the movie is a ton of fun. And this is where we disagree. I loved the art style. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I just don't think it looked that great. I
Fair enough.
did not think it. You know what? Also, I thought was very funny. I got a lot of the movie Robots vibes in this, specifically the chase, like not the chase scene, the race when they're racing around the city. That was just like the chase scene in Robots. I felt like very similar vibes. So I just thought that was pretty interesting that robot
Really?
movies feel so similar. I just felt that way. I don't know. I like the movie Robots a lot, so maybe that's why it felt like that. Here's my hot take. And I left the theater because I was very excited for this because I like the Transformers and I was like, awesome, it's going to be more accurate to what they should be. You're actually going to take the mythology it should be. And I left and I was like, it had all of the elements that I was looking for, but it didn't resonate, didn't click with me, and I couldn't figure out why. And then a couple hours later, I thought of it. I missed Michael Bay. I missed the Michael Bay-ness of Transformers. And I think it's because of what we talked about earlier with Baz Luhrmann. When you get so used to something and there's something in such a specific style, when it's not that style, it throws you off. And to me, Transformers is Michael Bay. Like that style is how I expect Transformers to be. And when it's not that, it looks almost wrong. And I just felt that watching this movie. And I don't know if I can fix that like in my brain. I think if more other people make Transformers, I'll start to feel that way. But like in my head, Michael Bay's style is the way that Transformers should look, and they just didn't here.
See, I've never seen a Transformers movie before, so this was like a completely blank slate for me. Yeah, although this did inspire me to watch Transformers.
That is insane. You've never seen Transformers.
You know what's even crazier, Hunter?
No way you're about to say this.
I've only seen the ending of Bumblebee.
No
Yes,
way.
Jack.
Yes. I wasn't a Transformers kid growing up. It wasn't my thing. So when the movies came out,
my mind is
I was
boggled.
never a big fan.
There's no way.
I want to watch them now. Dude. Also, I totally missed the beginning of Transformers. This one?
Of this one? How'd that happen?
Yeah, I got there like extremely late. I couldn't find the theater. It was my first time going to this one. It's like the entrance is on the second floor of a mall. I was like, what is this? But I walked in and Optimus and Megatron were talking. But I don't know what happened at the beginning to like set it up.
Okay.
Maybe that's why you liked it more. You didn't get the full thing.
Well, then for both of you, I recommend watching the first 3 Transformers movies because I think that they're incredible pieces of action cinema that are also in that grouping of 3-star movies that are awesome. Wow, never seen the Transformers movies is insane to me. And maybe you'll feel the way that I feel after you see those movies. You'll be like, wow, this is a very different style than what Transformers 1 is.
I've already seen the best.
Or maybe I'll think, wow,
Transformers 1 is better. Maybe you might think that.
Bad Boys 2. Nothing
maybe I'll think, oh, these Michael Bay movies, these aren't really Transformers.
You could think that. I don't like their mouths in this also. They're too human. I think they should always have like the thing up where it kind of goes like that, like a puppet.
Definitely would have made things easier for the animators.
Yeah, would have. Yeah, and I also just didn't like the art style. You know what it is? I think too. Transformers should be big to me, and they never felt big.
Yep.
They felt like just.
I
people.
agree. They
felt
very
like people. Small. Yeah. That's why it's always the best when like they throw Shia LaBeouf and they like catch him in like their hand, and you're like, that is a large, just robot
piece of machinery.
Also, see if you guys had saw the other Transformers movie, you know this. They copied the ending of the other Transformers movies. The other Transformers movies all end with Optimus Prime doing like we look out on Earth knowing it's our final place, where I call on all Autobots, and then like Linkin Park plays. They basically did that here. This is insane. You guys never seen Transformers. That is
it works. It works.
All right, I'm looking at the calendar right now. This is ridiculous. Transformers is getting bumped up the list on what we have to review. I'm blown away by this. Let me look at this. Oh my god.
The thing for me was I just like I don't know. It was never something that was like my dad didn't love Transformers, so he never like told me about it, and then I never really took an interest in them. You know, I was always playing with like X-Men action figures and stuff. I know people that had like the Transformers action figures, but I wasn't really interested. And then my brother didn't watch it. None of my friends watched it. So then I was like, well.
All right. The first full week of November, that's going to be our Transformers episode. We're doing the first 3. That is insane. You guys have never seen this. You're missing a large part of American cinema right there.
Are we?
Yes.
I like that you turned that to a question. I like that.
Yes.
Not that honestly, I'm excited. After watching Michael Bay's Bad Boys movies, like I was like, this guy's awesome. He's like fun to watch. But I'm excited, and I've always like had the Transformers movies on my watch list, but it's never been something that I've always been like, oh, this is what I have to watch tonight. So
should be.
Honestly, yeah. I think I'll like them. Heading into it, I think I will like them. So I'm not gonna be too critical.
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this is how I learned this too.
It's so shocking. You're gonna get like PTSD next time. Like
They all made like $1 billion, and like you guys did not see them.
yeah.
No, you know what? I can't be mad. You know what it is? You were either a Transformers guy or a Pirates of the Caribbean guy, and I was a Transformers guy. That's what it was.
Fair. That could possibly be it.
But I wasn't even a Pirates of.
Who is this guy?
Okay.
Who is this guy?
Okay.
We need to figure out what
Charlie. It's Charlie.
Yeah, did you?
That's
Were you a
what it is.
Narnia guy? Did you go to see Narnia in theaters?
Narnia was electric. Yes.
What was I? What was it?
Harry Potter.
I was really big
Potter guy.
Chicken Little guy.
Oh
No, I didn't watch Harry Potter until college.
Oh man.
I really like Chicken Little.
We gotta sneak in a Harry Potter ranking or something around November.
I know, around fall. I think we should.
Just have to.
Yes.
To say we're gonna rewatch all 7 of them would be quite an ambitious goal.
Yeah, I think maybe November we'll do like a ranking or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I rewatched them in January last year, so I still
could
feel
do-
like they're quite new off the dome.
We could do like movie, character, moment, and then thing from the universe that you'd want. That could be like our 4.
Yeah.
I think that could work.
Hunter, we
Mr.
need
Charles.
a book update. How you doing? How you doing on your reading progress?
So far so good. He has arrived back to Hogwarts. So I can't remember how far that is. It's not very far, but he's back at Hogwarts now. So stuff's about to happen.
Not super far.
No,
Okay.
but stuff is about to
That's
happen.
cool.
Let me tell you.
All right.
Yeah. Also, this week might not be a great week for reading, just because I will tell you, I think I'm planning to go to the movies 3 times. I was telling Jack that earlier. So I think I'll be 3 days this week will be at the movies, unfortunately. And then one day is Monday Night Football. And then the other night is like, it's a Wednesday. So probably not. I might read Wednesday. Actually, Wednesday will be my reading day. So that'll make you feel better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was saying I got my Megalopolis tickets.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to go
I got
for
my
next weekend.
Megalopolis tickets.
I'm gonna see it on Saturday.
What about the Wild Robot?
Dude, I might pull a doubleheader low key. I really want to see the Wild Robot.
Yeah. Love
Charlie is wild for the Wild Robot.
Yeah, he's going crazy for this Wild Robot.
Dude,
It
people have
looks
been asking me like what
now
I'm
that's
really
an art
excited
style
for,
right there.
and I keep saying the Wild Robot, and they're like, "Oh, what is the Wild Robot?" And I have the hardest time describing what the Wild Robot is.
It's a robot that gets stuck in the wild and learns from animals.
But like, if you say that does not do the movie justice, you know?
I guess so. Oh, let me tell you this. All right. So when I was in LA for the Indiana game, the Wild Robot was everywhere. Every single light post, every single, anywhere I went, it was a poster or an ad for the Wild Robot. The Wild Robot marketing team has spent all of their money on signage in LA because there's never really anything else except for those signs anywhere I've seen anywhere else. And you know who's spending no money on marketing is Megalopolis, because my showing that I just bought a ticket for tonight had 2 people in it. So it's gonna be me and those 2 people, and we're gonna have a great time.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It's gonna be me and then the volunteer that participates from the crowd for the screen and crowd interaction.
It's gonna be you asking the question to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're the only person there. That'd actually be an awesome way to do it. When you walk in, the person working at the theater asks you, "Will you be the person tonight who asks the question to the screen?" You're like, yeah.
Everyone lines up and gets there early. The first
just
person to
waiting
be there. I show up the night before. They're like, "Dude, we're closing." Like, nah, man.
You're like, no, who works tomorrow though? I need to pay them off. Oh my god. Oh, also, when I went and saw Transformers, speaking of empty theater, I was by myself in the theater for the first 20 minutes, and then a dad and his son walked in 20 minutes in, and it was like a weird vibe, I guess, because it's a kids movie, and I was by myself watching it, and then a dad and his kid walked in, who's the appropriate audience for this movie, and then they were sitting there watching it, and the kid I don't think was very into it, and so a kid got up and left, and then came back with a huge popcorn And I was like, that kind of rocks for that kid. But it was a weird vibe, I think, for like the first little bit.
That reminds me of my
Dude,
experience
people
with-
clapped at mine.
Really? That's nice.
That's awesome.
People clapped. Yeah.
That's good.
Your experience in the theater reminded me of my experience with Harold and the Purple Crayon. We all know.
I forget that came out every time you say it, and then I remember it, and I forget it immediately.
I mean, we all know what their target audience is. It's definitely college students. They wanted to maximize, But I literally walk into that theater, and there's about like 10 families just like chilling, like waiting for a mother and their daughter or son, whatever. And then they just see me with a popcorn machine, just fully ready to watch this movie. And I kind of skedaddled out of there really fast, though. I was just like, pew. But
yeah, I did not stick around for the post-credit scene on Transformers 1, unfortunately. So I saw it on Twitter the next day. Oh, Charles is Googling the Transformers 1 post-credit scene. I think he's Googling to see what it was. Did you stick around?
No, I was walking out. I was walking out, and then I heard it, and I walked back in, and I watched it, and I thought to myself, if I had left, would not have mattered.
Yeah.
Post-credit
that's the
scene
other thing
was
too.
nothing.
The post-credit scene set up something I was much more interested in than the movie we got. I would like to see the Decepticons fighting the Autobots.
Oh, there were 2 post-credit scenes then, because I did not see that.
Whoa, wait. Okay, so there was the one with Bumblebee where he's telling his like fake friends that he now has friends. And then the second one,
That's what I saw.
Okay, so there was the second one, and the second one was Megatron basically saying like, we will not be deceived anymore. We're doing the ones deceiving. Come to me, my Decepticons. Which kind of a midline, but
yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, so I also missed that one but I Googled it and then I just watched it on Twitter the next day. So.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah. All right. Is that anything else? Should we just check out what our kind of thing is for next week? So next week, man, it stinks. All right. What stinks is that Penguin now is a Sunday night release at 9, but we're a Monday pod, so we probably won't be able to review it till the following week. So we're always going to be a week behind episode-wise. Well, maybe we'll figure out a way to get around that. But anyway, for sure next week, The Wild Robot and Megalopolis will be reviewing, along with Agatha episode 3. And then hopefully Penguin episode 2 will find a way to figure out to do it. But yeah. All right, anything else?
That just ruined my night.
I know, doesn't it?
I had no idea.
It stinks.
I feel like such an idiot. I'm such a fool.
So stupid. Okay. But yeah, so we'll do that, and then we'll chat then. Oh, also, let's do a live prediction of Sunday Night Football. Let's see who's winning right now, and then we'll see if they're gonna our takes on it. All right. There's 4:14 left in the second quarter. Falcons are 14 to Kansas City 7. There's 3:30 left. Kansas City has the ball, and they are going. It's 4th and 2 on Atlanta's 35. So they're going to kick the field goal. All right, so it's about to be 10-14 with 3 minutes left. I'm going to say Atlanta is going to win this game. This seems like a Chief letdown spot, if I'm being honest.
I'll take the Chiefs.
It's probably a good call.
To make it interesting. Dude, Kipley. So Kipley's a Bears fan. He wanted to bet rent today on the game.
I think you talked him out of it. Oh, wait, like bet each other rent? Like you would have to pay his part of the rent?
Yes.
Okay. Whoa.
I think I'll go Chiefs as well.
You should have took that bet now, obviously hindsight, but like that's an insane bet.
Right?
That's a crazy bet to take. Whoa.
I know.
Damn. All right. Well, hey, next week we'll also know if the Hoosiers are ranked, so we'll talk about that as well. But that's it. So basically, a recap: we thought Transformers 1 was decent, and we love the Penguin. And Agatha All Along is a TV show that is airing on Disney Plus weekly. No, it's better than that. I'm not going to be that much of a hater. It's definitely better than like a lot of other shows they've been offering recently. But yeah, that is episode 37. Wow, almost at actually not too far off from a year. That's crazy. All right, well, anything else, boys? We'll wrap it up. All right, well, for Charles and Jack, I'm Hunter. Have a great week. Watch Megalopolis. Be kind to the individual talking at the screen, and have a great week. Go Hoosiers.